self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk-averse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity, and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome to the first ever edition of Smoke and Mirrors here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Declan Krogman, alongside the one and only Polius brothers. That's Greg and Stephen Polius. What's up, guys?
What's going on? Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
Episode, baby.
I can't believe we're finally here. The time has come. It's unbelievable. But I guess we'll get to everything rather quickly now that Tyler Hero fades out. How everything came together. Well, I mean, I guess maybe we'll give a little intro to who we are. Obviously, we're all from the hit list, one way or another.
The sports hit list.
Absolutely.
Shout out to you, Carl.
Fact. Shout out to Carl Coulange, Errol Marks. We definitely got a lot of people to thank. Shout out to Speedy Petey, our producer, who's with us right now. In the meantime, though, Greg, I guess we'll start with you. Give us your hit list background, how we all know each other, how the show came about.
I mean, as far as my hit list background, I had no intentions of doing anything like this in a sort. But my guy, Carl, who we go back 20 years to high school, had invited me on 2015 and, been a regular guest ever since, started vlogging. And then, once Carl got the live show, been on a live show. And now I'm here. As far as Stefan, I've obviously known this guy my whole life, considering we're related. And Declan, I actually coached Declan in baseball since you were 8 years old, Deck?
It was something like that. It's
been about 10 years.
I don't even know. Yeah.
A long time in the making, huh?
It's been a long time.
Together.
That's a fact.
I remember he had his dreads and he was wearing a yellow shirt and it was an Under Armour Thurman. I was like, oh my God, Andrew McCutcheon just showed up at my practice.
I used to get that a lot.
I was so excited. Lighter. I remember that. What's up, Steph?
20 pounds lighter and a lot more muscle.
Really? You had to do that? You had to go there?
Messed up.
That's what we do my whole life. I'll go next. So, Stephen Polius is younger brother, but been a part of the Sports Hit List as a contributor off and on, jumping in for baseball, football. I think my highlight, my favorite moment was the is Babe Ruth overrated conversation, because that to me was money. It was golden. But I've known Declan a little bit less than Greg has. But we've been working on this and trying to make this like a thing, and I'm really happy to be here and to share this with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pumped. Just to give you guys a little background, I joined the hit list. Got you, Greg. The Sports Hit List in 2020. ahead of the baseball season. Kind of with help me knowing Greg and Carl just kind of bringing me on and throwing me in the deep end and having fun immediately. So that's kind of how we got started. Greg and Steph hinted on it. I've known these guys for a long time now. I've known Steph for like 5-6 years, Greg for about a decade, more or less, not really sure at this point. But why don't we get into some sports topics? We got a lot to cover today in the hour. The first hour we will ever do on this show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So let's get to it. The New York Knicks.
Yeah, so it is now March 1st, and we are on the cusp of the All-Star break, and the New York Knicks are a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if you guys saw the Twitter link with Knicks fans going crazy at the Garden when they came back and beat the Pacers. And it was all over Twitter, and a lot of people were like, this is how Knicks fans act when they're 500. Imagine when they win a championship. And the truth of the matter is, even though myself, where I denounced my Knicks fandom last summer, and I'm sticking to that, I am happy to see the team doing well, and the fans do deserve to celebrate. Before we get into the real nooks and crannies, what do you guys take on like where they are in the standings right now?
I mean, I think it's amazing. I think that it's a long time coming. Honestly, in New York, right? If you are a Knicks fan, a Mets fan, a Jets fan,
you're
even a Giants
miserable
fan at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you're miserable all year long. There's no point in the season where you can really enjoy yourself. And to be like the epicenter of basketball and in Madison Square Garden and be irrelevant for as long as the Knicks have, like, this has just been a long time coming. So, super excited. I don't care how much Knicks fans celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's deserved. They need this, right? Like, this is like just difficult to deal with for so long, and now you just have a inkling of something to enjoy, and let them have it.
Yeah, they're in 4th place. Julius Randle's an all-star. RJ Barrett, I saw a stat from our boy Sean Kiernan, obviously the hit list and it's Speakeasy Sports. Shout out to Sean. We love Sean. That they're 18-0 when RJ Barrett has a positive plus or minus. So I think that's huge, obviously, if they're 18-0 with RJ doing that. Because, we've heard some things from the Knicks streets. Like, I even heard people want to trade him. People want to kind of get rid of him. Like, they don't love him. They don't believe in him. He's been good this year. Inconsistent at times, but he's really performed when it counted.
I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, you got to take everything with a grain of salt coming from Knicks fans, because they're so reactionary given how piss poor this franchise has been run over the last 2 decades, that the minute a player had this is a perfect segue to Obi Toppin. Shout out to my guy Delano, who was upset with the pick on draft night and wanted Tyrese Halliburton. But Obi Toppin, Tom Thibodeau, who, while he's doing a great job, is more of a I would say old school coach, where he won't run
Very
a lot
defensive.
of these. Yeah, but you won't see a lot of these small ball lineups, or you'll see a lot of traditional lineups out of Thibodeau. So Julius Randle having a year that no one expected cuts right into Obi Toppin's playing time, because they play the same position. Doesn't mean Obi Toppin is going to be a bust. It could just be a while, because he's not where he needs him to be defensively, and that's where he's lacking. So he doesn't get the court time, as opposed to a Halliburton who's in a different free-flowing offense. But to your point, Deck, I would say you got to give him time, and just like RJ Barrett, he's proven to be a solid second option on the Knicks team.
Yeah, I mean, especially like, what do you guys think? Given with the Knicks rotation, like, I know Kevin Knox, Austin Rivers, we've seen their names, be floated in some trade conversations. More or less, I'd like to focus on Knox, considering he was a draft pick in the first round. I think it was 1 or 2 years ago, maybe. I can't remember. I think it was 2019 or 2018. Oh, sorry, 2018, because of Barrett was 2019. Yeah, so Knox not getting play, and I think maybe it is because he's not the best defensive player. Like, he could shoot the 3 ball, but in terms of his defense and, Tom Thibodeau being a defensive-oriented coach, like, what do you guys think in terms of, kind of where he fits in the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference team right now?
I don't think he fits. I don't. Him, especially with the acquisition of Derrick Rose. I don't think he fits. I don't think Austin Rivers fits, because Tom Thibodeau has his 8 to 10 guys, his rotation that he's going to play, and they just don't fit the bill. And Knox is extremely inconsistent in all facets of his game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, he doesn't fit, and I just don't think he's shown enough in his time as a Knick for you to like believe that there's a role for him. So, I mean, you cutting bait now and trying to get something back for him, knowing that he hasn't shown much
I mean,
statistically in his career here.
what can you get back? He's shown nothing to give himself of any value.
I mean, as well, you at this point you're just trying to get potential, right? Well, he was evaluated as a first round pick at one point, and I mean the potential is you can still see potential there, maybe in working on him like a work in progress. Look at Julius Randle, though, right? Like you're talking about
It took 7 years.
A player that no one saw really doing what he's doing right now. It sometimes takes a coach. So it's like if you are evaluating, Kevin Knox, and you're like, well, I think he could do this for us because we have the guys that can like get him to that level. I think there's some value. I'm not saying there's no value, but there's something there the Knicks could potentially.
I think where the Knicks went wrong in terms of when they drafted Kevin Knox was the past couple years. Whether it be Kristaps Porzingis, Frank Ntilikina, they drafted guys where you couldn't pronounce their name, and I think that didn't pan out for them. And I think that got in their head, and they said, you know what, we're going to draft Kevin Knox because everyone can pronounce their name. And he sucks. It doesn't work out. That's my joke of a little synopsis of why the Knicks.
We're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that delivery. But in terms of the Eastern Conference though, and the way the playoff picture is shaping up, considering we're at the All-Star break here, especially with this new, I love what Adam Silver did. With the playoff format, and you have the 7 and 8 seed and the 9 and 10 seed with the playing games. For those of you out there that aren't too privy to the format, 7 and 8 seed play each other. The winner then becomes a 7 seed. The 9 and 10 seed play each other. The winner of that then plays the loser of the 7-8 game. For the 8th seed. And so I believe if you check the standings, 4 through 10 is separated by like 3 games. So you can lose. You could go on a losing streak and you can be out the picture. Yeah, very tight. So how do you think? I think right now, the 7 through 10 seeds we have. I know I sent the screenshot earlier to you guys.
The Raptors, Hornets, Pacers, Bulls.
All right. Do we see that holding?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to tell because we're not even at the All-Star break. I know it's a later All-Star break. It's in a week. I think the All-Star game's Sunday.
What do you mean? Technically, we're not. We're at the All-Star break.
All right. Well, I was giving it a week because the All-Star game was on my dad's birthday on the 7th. Like, I'm just gonna relax on that. But yeah, no, I don't know if everything sticks. There's definitely some. The 9 and 10 seed are kind of creeping down their back. So everything. I don't think that you're gonna see a lot of holding. If you do, anything's gonna be close. There's no runaway in terms of the 4 and 10 seeds in the Eastern Conference right now.
No, there isn't, but I'm going to make a bold prediction here. In terms of the 4, 5, and 6 seeds, I'm going to go with Hornets, Pacers, and Heat.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, you go with the Hornets because, they've shown some, promise with, LaMelo Ball, LeVar Ball. You guys hear? That's my dog barking his head off.
I didn't even know you had a dog.
There we go. Well, I do know. I hope that's my dog. LeVar Ball. He's not really. He's talking a little more. I didn't call him LeVar by accident. I was talking about his father. Will you relax?
Let him rock.
Oh my god! Look at this guy. He's ready to jump. Oh, unbelievable!
Just gotta make sure you're on point, bro.
Nah, you got it, man. You got it. LaMelo is a rookie of the year. I picked him for rookie of the year before the year. I don't know if that's not really a huge hot take.
Nah, it's not.
Not at all. But I'm just saying. Of course he is. He's killing it. And I think Greg made a little comment comparing him to LeBron James offensively at age 19.
Yeah. So, we're going to get off track. That could be a whole separate topic. What I was saying is not in terms of the totality of his game at that age. And I said that he is a better shooter than LeBron at 19 than LeBron was.
Got you. And now, where do you think the Heat are going to finish? I know you said you picked them
5-6, yeah, 5 or 6. And I don't see the Knicks have probably the hardest schedule coming up. This is so just to bring it back to the Knicks. So I do think that shout out to Coach Womack from the Sports Hit List because he called this. He said, now they're getting nationally televised games. Everybody wants to see the Knicks now, and their schedule is gonna be a disadvantage to them. and it's going to hurt them in the standings. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I could see them, as a 7 seed, or 8 seed, but it'll be good. It'll be great for New York if the Knicks are back in the playoffs.
And it'll be great for basketball if New York basketball and MSG is really not to jump down your throat and take your thunder there, take your NYC Thunder, it'd just be great if the Mecca's back and rolling, especially if you get fans in there.
I have a quick question though. What do you think about the expectations now on the Knicks? Like going into the season, obviously no one had high expectations, just like any other season. But now that you're coming into going to the second half, with them having more nationally televised games and having a little bit more pressure, now the media may be focusing more and keying in on their performances. How do you think that plays? For the Knicks, like to their disadvantage or maybe advantage? I think disadvantage.
Do you want an honest answer, or do you want the politically correct answer?
I would love the honest answer. I think that's what we're here for. All the smoke, right? It's not a joke. So if you're gonna give the honest truth, give the honest truth.
The honest truth is that it's definitely going to be a disadvantage because Knicks fans tend to be on the delusional side. As a former Knicks fan, I could say this. So they see their 18 and 17 going.
I can't believe you said former. That's unbelievable that you do that.
Hey. It is what it is.
No. I'm happy that he's sticking to it because now that Knicks is doing good, if he jumped back on the bandwagon, I would let him hear it.
That's true.
Continue to
That's
be
a bad look. That's a bad look to flip.
No matter how good they get now, I don't want to hear. I don't want to see orange and blue during basketball season. Stop it.
Nope. John Moran is my guy. You'll see me in Memphis teal, bro.
Obviously, the Nets do play in New York. So, and I don't want to get too ahead of everything. Yeah, the Knicks are the 4 seed. They're a game above 500. We know the Eastern Conference. I feel like for the past 5 years, the records have been a little bit lesser of that in the Western Conference. I don't think that's a secret either. What are your guys' outlook on the potential New York basketball rivalry? Is there a rivalry? Is there a competition with the Knicks and the Nets right now? What do you guys think?
No.
No. Well, I didn't mean talent-wise. I meant hopefully in a couple of years.
I think the Knicks would want that, but it's not even close.
Remember that comment I made 30 seconds ago about delusion?
I'm not a Knicks fan, but I just wanted to see if I could feed into some delusion from a former
but this is kind of where the Knicks win 3 games in a row, and it's we're going to the second round of the playoffs. Slow, let's take it baby steps. Steps.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? That reminds me of a couple things. That reminds me of when the Mets get a nice little free agent and they're winning the division.
How'd I know? Wow.
And it also reminds me of when the Jets hear their names mentioned in Desean Watson talk. Oh my God, we're winning 10 games after winning 2. That's what it reminds me of. So don't act like Knicks fans are any different than Mets fans or any different than Jets fans. Maybe a little more at times. That's it.
We're going to have to go to commercial break soon, but this is highly ironic coming from a guy who lauded Danny Fumbles for God knows how long and rivaled that of Jamarcus Russell in turning over the football.
First of all, if you want to get into that, I'm not a huge Daniel Jones fan, but I will say this to you. He had
there are receipts, my guy. There are receipts.
I'm aware there are receipts. Just like there are receipts that you called Josh Allen average when I called him an MVP candidate.
However, it's okay for me to. I can say I was wrong. You, however, that you struggle with that.
Hold on.
With that.
I have said many times. First of all, I've criticized Daniel Jones after the game, and after the games where he's performed badly. And I thought he would have a decent season this year. He did not. It was horrible. Year 3, that's going to be the deciding factor. If he's good next year, he stays. If not, they move on. This is a team that I'm not going to say the window is open for them because they're not there yet. But this is a team that is building in the right direction in terms of organization, defensive standpoint. They just got to build the line, get some decent receivers. And you know what? Not get some decent receivers, but maybe build receiver talent. But right now, the quarterback is an issue. Yeah. I'll say
we fell for his okie doke to talk about the Giants, bro.
Clearly, we did. I was about to say, getting caught between the two of you talking about this, getting way off track. I love that the energy is there.
Is it Wednesday at 4 p.m. already?
Feels like it, right? You guys are coming in hot, and we have all the time to talk about that. All right, we can get back on track. Get to these this basketball we were talking about.
You're right.
And finishing up, Danny Fumbles, that clown. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, Greg, you were going to say?
No. We were just talking about Knicks fans being delusional in the playoffs and the schedule being a disadvantage.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. I agree with I agree with that point. They are at a disadvantage, and to Declan's question, as far as if there's a rivalry, there really isn't. Not yet. I think that the Knicks are percolating, right? Like there's a reason to kind of have some kind of excitement.
Heard
but...
you, Walt Clyde.
Nah, but they're percolating, all right, and there's gonna come a time when you could say like, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe when you get excited for the Knicks to play the Nets, but at this point, it's like it's a blowout. Maybe they win, maybe they pull something off, but you're not going into this like this is a rivalry. It just isn't that yet.
So it's kind of like and I'm not taking a shot here. I'm saying it's like a Subway Series type of thing where they play. It's not it's a rivalry in fans' heads, and maybe for bragging rights in the New York sports teams. But in terms of talent wise, I know this isn't a competition right now in terms of like, is this team going to go to the finals versus a team that, its peak is the playoffs, which is surprising that we're talking about that at the All-Star break. And I think it's a pleasant surprise, even as not being a Knicks fan, as a New Yorker, just to see two basketball teams that are, right now in the top 5 seeds of the Eastern Conference. It is definitely a pleasant surprise and one that a lot of people didn't have.
I will say this though about the comparison to the Mets and the Yankees. It isn't the same because it's not the history. Like the Mets and Yankees, The Mets could never be in competition, right? I mean, there's a lot of seasons that they just were not, right? Start hot and get really cold. The Mets could be awful that season, and there will still be that rivalry there against the Yankees because of the history, right? That is what the difference is. There's not really that history because the Nets are, obviously been in Brooklyn for a while, but still new to Brooklyn, and there hasn't been that competition yet between like who's the better of the two because they've both been bad. So the Yankees being the overdogs and the Mets being the underdogs created that rivalry for the Mets to try and like eke out some kind of existence in New York in this huge market, but it's dominated by the Yankees. So I don't think it's the same. But again, it has the potential to be a rivalry that we can all look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, and you're right. It doesn't have the history of Giants Jets, even though that's an every 4-year thing, not a 4 times a year thing like the Nets and the Nets and the Knicks, and even the Yankees and the Mets. But now, I guess, we're almost at a commercial break, so we can continue to talk about the Knicks, obviously, until then. If we want to give a preview, I know we're going to get into some football.
I see the comments going crazy. Coach Womack in the comments talking about Knicks for clicks. I mean,
unbelievable. How is the Knicks getting clicks right now?
No.
He's breaking balls. I mean, what else?
Because he probably walked in when I was talking about Knicks not being in the top 6.
And you know what? Speaking of breaking balls, master debater Eric Siegel told me to get a haircut, and he's probably right. I mean, I kind of need one right now, so I'll have one for Friday just for that. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Unbelievable. Steelers fan. Sick of him. Get him out of my comment section. Nah, just kidding. Stay forever.
No, Manny. We didn't call you Manny Fumbles, bro. I mean, he's in the comments. So he just want to fight everybody. He want to get the hands to everybody.
It's not about you right
talking
now, bro.
about, he's always wanting to throw the hands.
He called me Judas.
I mean, he has good reason to, and I understand that beef. But
I mean, I have the Knicks fans not the Knicks fans. The Knicks organization has given me a reason to beef for I would say 3/4 of my lifetime.
I'll say this, Greg, and as your brother, all love, but to abandon the franchise, like I can't. That's just it's. I understand. Like, you're gonna abandon the Mets?
No,
the Jets?
that's totally different.
What you mean? There's gonna come a point in time because clearly you have a breaking point. You have a breaking point, and you gave up on the Knicks. Who's to say that the Mets, Jets, or any other team you like isn't next? It just questions loyalty.
Is this becoming a referendum on me because I chose not to root for a trash organization?
Well,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's character, right? I'm just looking.
Wow,
that's insane.
I'm gonna put it out there.
It's your own blood. Wow,
bro. I prefaced it. Hold on. I prefaced that all with "I love you." Right? I got love, and I always will love you.
He did a preface,
but I'm also being critical, and that's something to think about. Because if I'm like rocking with some more Mets fans for a while, and then obviously the Mets are always bad. Like, you know what? I'm done being a Met fan. I'm like, damn, bro. That's it.
So let me just give it some context. Let me give it some context. It's not necessarily basketball reasons why I can't rock out with the Knicks. And I don't want to get into it because we're on a sports show, but I take issue with how they handle things, and I decided to just retract myself from
You're
my
not wrong,
fandom.
you're not wrong for that. If that's your reasoning and it's not basketball related, then there's no
front office and moves like that.
I'm sorry?
Talking front office and like moves
yeah,
like
I'm 100.
Yeah, I understand. All right.
Talking about a guy who owns both teams in MSG right now.
Yes.
Okay, understood. And on that note, we'll head right to commercial break. You're listening to Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk-averse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back to Smoke and Mirrors here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Declan Krogman, alongside Greg Polius and Stephen Polius. The Polius brothers, the dynamic duo. Let's get it. We're going to I know, right? Not bad. So we're going to head into some football right now. Obviously, we got a lot of Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson news to break, essentially. Not necessarily break, but to get on this afternoon. First, we learned this morning that Deshaun Watson – my dog again, bro. We learned that Desean Watson has no fear of sitting out this year. And Greg, you mentioned some of the financial ramifications, but this is a guy who is willing to hold out if he's not traded.
Yeah, and it's crazy because he can lose up to $20 million this year if he sits out. Now, wow. To us common folk, that's like, wow, $20 million, how you can't do that. Like, you can't do that. But then we have to look at it from another standpoint. There's a guy who signed a lucrative contract with a massive guarantee. And for him, it seems like it's a matter of principle as opposed to the dollar amount. And he feels so wronged by the organization that he's like, I want out at all costs. And I know a lot of people have said he doesn't have any leverage in the situation. If a guy is willing to, throw away $20 million, that's leverage, in my opinion.
Yeah,
what do you guys think about that?
If that's the case, in terms of his actual leverage for, I think he has some leverage in that regard. I don't think you're wrong on that. But in terms of getting a trade done, the Texans have no leverage because they're going to want to get a huge asking price, and they're going to look for 3 first-round picks. A lot of people seem to think they're going to get 3 first-round picks and some change after that. Like, Christian McCaffrey's name has been floated around in some discussions. We've seen a lot of names like Brian Burns, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, all be floated around just from the Panthers alone, not even with the Dolphins or the Jets or any other potential buyers. But I think if there are going to be any, it's going to be those 3. But teams might not give the Texans the whole package for Desean Watson, even if, listen, I think we all consensus can say that he's worth 3 first-round picks. He's a top 5 quarterback, perennial MVP candidate, and a Pro Bowler. Not that the Pro Bowl matters, but he's an all-star quarterback every year. So, yeah, Steph, I obviously want to get to you on that, so go.
Yes, he is worth that much. You saw how Matthew Stafford kind of set the market of what the value is, and obviously a lot younger, a lot more talent, a lot in the tank there. But I would say that, and something that's interesting, yes, he has the leverage, but if you look at Houston, if you look at the Texans, they're not really going anywhere. And to me, that front office is petty. Like they clearly, he went into the season saying, I want to be a part of these decisions. And they didn't allow him to make those decisions, at least to be in the room. So if the option is to wait and let him lose money, and knowing that they could still get the same, I think the trade value doesn't change regardless of the market. So, let's say he sits out, he loses, close to $20 million. I think they do that. It's not like they're trying to win this year. They don't have a team that can win. So they might just let him hold out and not feel like they're hurting, and then hurt his wallets, and then eventually get the trade that they want, which to me is a win-win for them because they're going to get a king's ransom for it.
You mentioned that the front office is petty. I would go more on the lines of incompetent as opposed to petty.
That's fair. Easter May is terrible.
They could be both.
I'm not
saying that they're one or the other. They could literally be both. I just think how they handle the situation, you could call that incompetence, but I could call it pettiness too, because you could tell to tell this man that he's going to be in the room to make the decisions and then not do it. I don't think that's incompetence. If anything, it's disrespect. Yeah, but
not to cut you off. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Disrespect helped me out, but I believe that for organization to move like that, when it comes to now he's going to sit out, well, all right, sit out, see what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And that to me is a pettiness, because he clearly has value. He doesn't want to be there. I 100% agree with his reasoning for not wanting to be there, especially since they have not protected him. They have not put pieces around him. They removed his biggest piece and got back a running back, in David Johnson, that
and a second rounder.
Outside of his first game, which everyone thought David Johnson was back, his whole season was forgettable. So
concussion still.
Even before the concussion, though, David Johnson just is not the running back or the player that you want to get back along with the second rounder. So that speaks to the incompetence, speaks to the pettiness to me. Yeah. It speaks to the disrespect. All of it.
It's why J.J. Watt wanted out, and now he's getting a payday from the Cardinals.
In case you guys didn't hear, J.J. Watt, this was 40 minutes ago from Adam Schefter.
Breaking. Hit him.
We wanted to hit him with the breaking news. It was breaking news like right before our show, like a little bit before.
Breaking news.
Can you get a drum roll or something? Geez.
I'm not good at drum rolls, bro. I'm sorry.
Me neither, man. That's so boomer. Cardinals are giving J.J. Watt a 2-year, $31 million contract. That includes $23 million guaranteed for a defensive end who, no knock on J.J. Watt. He, football's an injury-prone game, and he happens to be an injury-prone player, especially now that he's getting, older in age. That $23 million, out of the 8 remaining is huge.
I think the Cardinals are crazy. I think this is a vast overpayment, and I know Paul Lawson is agreeing with me. Travis still thinks he's worth this. Shout out to the football crew over at the Sports Hit List. But I just don't see him as the same player, the same disruptive force that was Defensive Player of the Year. Doesn't mean he can't be effective, but maybe on a limited snap count. But for 23 guaranteed over 2 years,
it's tough, but it's not ridiculous. Like, it's not really ridiculous money. I don't think it's blow up their cap. I mean, the Cardinals do think. I mean, they went 8-8 last year. They probably should have had a playoff spot. I don't know how the Bears. I mean, the Bears got in over them, but they totally were a better team than the Bears, and they just folded at the end. Kyler folded. That team folded. But Kyler's a guy who, listen, he won Rookie of the Year. He had a nice, and even after a Rookie of the Year season, I think we can all agree he stepped up his game in year 2. We didn't have a sophomore slump like Danny Dimes, but year 3 is going to be the biggest year for a quarterback. I've said that all along. I don't think it's a secret. Year 3 is huge. We're going to see what they want to get. If they want to get the window open and try to win on his rookie contract, I don't think they have what it takes to win. But can they contend? Can they be a playoff team? Absolutely. And that's just what their thinking process is.
I mean, JJ Watt isn't the guy that's going to put you over the hump at this point in his career.
But he can still change the game, though.
I mean, yeah, I think you're really like throwing a lot of shade and not giving JJ Watt his due credit. I know he's older. He hasn't performed like he has in the past before his injuries. But to me, you still have to double JJ Watt, right? And that leaves openings. Like JJ Watt's presence on a D-line does change the defense. And he's not getting to the quarterback as much, getting those sacks, but he can still get the pressures, right? He's still requiring the offense to double him, offensive line to double him. So I think that the Cardinals made an aggressive play, yes, but I can see it paying dividends, especially with an offense that is clicking, that you want to have a defense that can do it. And JJ Watt, to me, is a big spend that can get that locker room hype as well. Like, this guy he's a big figure in the NFL, right?
And so you're talking in terms of leadership. I could see that aspect of it.
Leadership, though, but I'm also talking about what he like on the field. You're not gonna not double JJ Watt. You know what I mean? Like he's just a beast. He's even even at his age, you're still gonna double him. If you give him if you have one person, like one lineman, offensive lineman that has to guard or cover JJ Watt, he's getting to the quarterback. I still think he could do that. So all I'm saying is I think that they made an aggressive play, but I could see it paying dividends.
Now, where do you guys
based on this conversation we're having, I'm gonna make sure in one of my IDP fantasy leagues I draft JJ Watt just so I can follow him to see if he's having this impact that you guys say that he's gonna have.
That's so extra. That's so extra. You can let someone else draft him.
No, see what it is that Greg on the low works for the Texans front office, and he has the same level of pettiness in him.
I kind of thought so. I was getting the vibe.
He gets his cues from those same people because that's just petty. And you know what? I'm going to be here for you when JJ Watt does deliver you some defensive numbers, but I'm going to be in that league with you, I'm sure. I'm going to beat you, and JJ Watt's not going to be the reason, obviously, that you lose, but I'm going to rub it in your face.
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like a challenge.
Brotherly smoke on Smoke and Mirrors. Here for all the smoke all the time.
Always.
Yeah. Now, what do you guys think? So, Travis had mentioned in the comment section, Chandler Jones would be alongside of him at the other defensive end spot. Now, given he is a free agent, so in all likelihood that he returns, how do you think that team can really what is your over-under for that team right now? Like what amount of wins do you think they can eclipse?
Honestly, I can't make any wins predictions until after the draft.
Come on. All right, fine. That's fair. Yeah, I get that. But where are they picking though? They're picking in the,
doesn't matter because this draft, there's a lot of talent in this draft, and they could address, needs in the 3rd and 4th round that could have potential impacts, during the season.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to the QBs and their potential landing spots.
Oh, I'll never argue with that. I mean, come on.
I know. Declan mentioned that it's going to take a king's ransom for DeShaun Watson and 3 first rounders, as it should. He's a 25-year-old, top 5 quarterback, So some of the teams that are been floating around, you have the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bears, the Niners, the Panthers as a dark horse. And I know Dean Caps has been in the sports hit list, a Panthers fan, running crazy talking about him trading Christian C-Mac and Brian Burns and a couple first rounders for DeShaun Watson. I wouldn't trade Burns. And some people, me and Steph were actually having a discussion in terms of the Jets. I got my Jets gear on. I would love to see D4 in Gotham Green. And I'm willing to give up the 2 first-round picks and a next year's first-round pick, a second next year, and Sam Darnold to get him because I think he's worth it.
I think that's a great point.
Williams too. It's also the defensive end that they want as well.
That's where I draw the line. We keep Quinnen.
I think that's a great point, but I also think now, and I think it's a good topic shifter to Seattle because you guys own that pick. If Russell Wilson's gone, that pick could be a lot better than you think it's going to be. First off, and second off, Russell Wilson is now.
What do you mean? The pick is 23 this year.
Oh, you don't have one for next year as well?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it took 2. My bad.
It was 23.
All right, so then you got one. In terms of Russell Wilson, he had come out and said, Adam Schefter had reported this, that he's going to play for either the Bears, was it the Raiders, Cowboys, and Saints.
And the Saints.
The only 4. So that's interesting. I mean, this is a guy who hasn't come out and formally, announced for a trade or demanded a trade. He's voiced his displeasure, and now he's voiced 4 escape routes, which is unbelievable.
I mean, it's definitely unbelievable, but I think it's something that's been brewing for a while. And then you saw the reports come out, about him storming out of the office after they had the conversations about the offense and where they didn't try. Yeah, where they didn't try to hear him out and his suggestions. Considering he's probably one of the most sacked quarterbacks since he's entered the league,
he can.
They should, yeah.
He can talk, and they should listen.
They haven't tried once to protect this guy. I mean, he's been performing at a high level for a long time, despite them not getting him the protection he needs. All the major quarterbacks out here that are putting up these big numbers, you go out there, you protect your quarterback. That's the best recipe for success. Yep. And they haven't. They let him scramble around and try to extend plays, which has worked early in his career, middle of his career, and now he's still doing that at a lesser clip. But you gotta at some point you just have to invest, right? And say, hey, this O-line, first round, let's do it. Because Russ is worth it.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like, there's so many comps, like, in terms of, not to cut you off, Greg, but in terms of, like, teams that don't build up the line. Like, we saw with Indy, it got Andrew Luck killed. It got him retired. And we might see, I hope to God we don't see it in Cincinnati, because Joe Burrow, I think, is a premier talent, and he could be a top quarterback in this league. But that offensive line's horrible. He just tore his ACL on a backside hit from, ironically, the second overall pick, Chase Young. So, which is crazy how that all did come full circle. Mm-hmm. But they gotta protect for him, or maybe you do let him go. You can get a king's ransom, and if you're gonna get in the rebuild, and by the way, that is funny for our boy Jamal Adams out in Seattle. If he's on another rebuilding
You're
team.
a hater, bro.
I'm not a hater. I mentioned it. You know what? This is a good plug. Ready? I was on CJ DeSimone, Kevin Jackson, Jimmy Jardine's show last night. Weapons Hot on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, 7:00, and they said the same thing as me. They were very angry at Jamal Adams, and you know what? I let him rock, because you know what? If he is on a rebuilding team, he's going to come back like, what is that? The guy from Mr. What's that show? The meme in the car, the guy from Mr. Incredibles. He's got his head.
Oh, Bob Parr? Bob Parr?
Yes, there you go. That's the meme that's going to be when if Russell Wilson gets traded.
I'm going to get to the Russ trade talk in a sec, but we have to stop this getting upset with players when they demand trades, especially when the organization says they're going to pay them. And they say it publicly,
right?
That, like, if you work, I'm not trying to compare like what we do to what they do, because it's different. Because our conversations with our bosses aren't public, but to go out in the media and say like he's worth X amount of dollars and we want to keep him here, and then to shop him around and say, hey, we're making calls and seeing what we could get for him. As a player, I'm going to take offense at it, especially as the best player on the team. Like, you told me one thing and did another, and this is the same reason why Deshaun Watson wants out, because they look at the players as commodities instead of people.
Yeah, but now here's the thing, and we can all agree that the Jets organization, especially when Adam Gase was at the helm, was corrupt, and corrupt in a sense that it was a losing, the team abided by a losing philosophy, and it was a joke for a lot. I hate to rip Adam Gase, obviously now that actually I don't, but I hate to rip him now that he's gone. I'm sure you guys love the ripping on Adam Gase. But here's the thing with Jamal Adams, right? They said they would pay him. But at some point, two sides cannot always come to an agreement. In Houston, they came to an agreement. They paid Desean Watson a king's ransom, and now Deshaun Watson.
That was easy, though. You pay a QB before a safety.
Yes. That's the thing. So if you say you're going to pay a safety, and then you bring the numbers to the table, and the numbers ain't adding up, and you're like, okay, we're a rebuilding team with a quarterback who we don't know how he's going to be entering year 3, which, as I've said multiple times, is the most important year for a quarterback. We're going to now lock up a safety that could be stuck here when we're terrible. And now we got a situation where this guy's going to eventually ask for a trade, and it's going to be impossible to move him with a huge contract.
I mean, that comes back to effective communication. Steph, what's your take on it before we get to Russ land the spot?
I was just going to say that as far as Jamal Adams goes, throwing him in here, I just think you don't come out and say that we're going to pay him. Like, you don't have to communicate that. It's you're sharing information to try and make the for public appeal and make it seem like, oh well, this is our guy, and they like to do that. It's platitudes. Like, you just like to say, make these empty promises and then go back on them. I do believe that Jamal Adams had every right to feel that way because he loved the Jets. That man, every offseason was campaigning, trying to bring talent to the Jets. He was doing everything he could to make that team better. And he invested in the team. The team didn't invest in him, which is what ownership usually does. They do not invest in their players. Yes, giving the money. I'm talking about like faith, like having faith and saying like, yeah, you're worth this. You believe in us and we love you. You've done everything we've asked of and then some. Here's a reward. Not just the money, but like we're going to get, because the money he needed, but like that guarantee that when I give you my word, it is going to be that. And if you can't do it, don't say it.
Yeah, Declan, man, he said you lie when your hair moves.
Yeah. So my hair moves a lot too.
That's hilarious.
But I don't lie. You know what? If you want to laugh at
shout out to the comment section. You guys are great.
Oh, that's a fact.
Shout out to Manny for that one. That was
love
great.
everybody in the comment section. Love everyone in the comment section. Everyone's making moves today. But going back to I'm gonna get a haircut or wear a hat next time. I just got out the shower. Give me a break, all right? My God. Unbelievable.
They know you
maybe,
bro.
You know what? Maybe I'll tell him that Russell Wilson's going to go to the Raiders and see how much
he just said that. He said Russell. Of course, Manny wants everybody to go to the Raiders.
I'll tell him that Russell Wilson's going to go to the Raiders and my hair's going to move like this.
As a fan, I want to see a Russ and Dak swap. That's what I want to see. I want to see Russ with the Cowboys and those weapons.
Yeah, I mean, he would totally benefit from that, and that would be insane for him. And the Cowboys, albeit their coaching staff may be whack, for lack of a better word, those swaps. The only time we've ever seen a swap like that was Nick Foles and Sam Bradford, and that's not even a pimple on the fanny of what that trade could be.
Yeah, but look, this offseason alone with the QB carousel is unprecedented.
And we thought last year was crazy. By the way,
football is moving in a different direction where it's coming closer to the NBA, and players wanted to take control. Yeah, it's gonna take a little longer, but this is like the basis for it,
And now, lastly, before we head to break, so Jamal Adams, and not to bring up old smoke, but Jamal Adams, you mentioned, Steph, was going around and trying to recruit, doing everything you should be doing and more. Honestly, going over the top to get free agents come to the Jets, and that's definitely, they've said that's partial to why Le'Veon Bell showed up, and Le'Veon Bell took issue when Jamal Adams asked for a trade, which I think is a little bit. I think Le'Veon Bell is kind of wrong in that sense, considering he did, not because he asked for his release or they granted his release, but going back to that situation where we agreed that the two sides cannot come to an argument, to an agreement. Excuse me. So I just wanted to know what your guys' take was on that quickly before we get to break.
Greg can go.
You could take it, Steph.
Isn't that sweet? They're getting along now. I got to be in the middle next time to separate you two.
Ebbs and flows. I agree with you, Deck. I do agree with you, Deck. Like, I my whole approach when it comes to tradition and like how things should be. It's not. You shouldn't, like, Le'Veon Bell being upset with Jamal Adams for that, to me, was out of line, and especially coming from his own situation, right, where he wanted to get paid. And he was willing to sit out. He sat out the whole season. I understand the camaraderie, and I think Le'Veon Bell was excited to be on the Jets, and Jamal Adams recruited him, so he felt like he was being abandoned. But he also should understand like where Jamal Adams was coming from, being in a similar situation, and wanting to get the money he deserved, and like being willing to do whatever it takes to get that. So I get being abandoned, but that could have been a conversation at the locker.
Absolutely. That could have been a man-to-man conversation. Hopefully not a conversation at the locker like Geno Smith and Anthony Polley or whatever his name was. That might not have went too good. I don't know about Jets locker room conversations. We're going to head to break right now. That's a great segue. Or not really a great segue, but great way to end the topic there. Le'Veon Bell, tough situation with the Jets, and he had to deal with it in Pittsburgh. Baseball's next. Stick around. We got a great end to the show. I'm Declan Krogman, Smoke and Mirrors, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth partying with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back to Smoke and Mirrors here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm Declan Krogman alongside Greg Polius, Stefan Polius, the dynamic duo, the Polius brothers, Polii brothers, whatever you want to call them. The GOATs. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Greg, you're muted. Geez, I got to do this like out of solidarity. I'm going to do it right now. Ready? All right, hold up. All right, guys, we're back. All right, let's get into baseball. Yeah, there we go. Let's get into baseball. As I did hear, by the way, that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are very far apart on contract talks.
Wait a minute. How do you say let's get into baseball and then talk about Lamar Jackson? How does that work?
Because I just threw it in there at the end because we didn't get it last time. Not a problem. We'll probably have all week to discuss. I am so excited for baseball.
I'm sorry, Deck. I thought you were going to get me with some kind of creative like segue. Because I heard Lamar Jackson. I was like, Lamar Jackson, that's a baseball player, not the.
How's he gonna go? Yeah, is he gonna go Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
Holmes. What is he gonna do? I don't know. Hey, man. I had nothing for you there, but I just wanted to mention that quick. Let's get into baseball, the sport that kind of brought the show together. If you think about it, that's how we all met.
Absolutely,
and it's a fitting way to end our first show. I've kind of been excited about it all day. So, Greg, Steph, you guys,
definitely, I'm pumped. Definitely. We showed on time, so we got to run through it pretty quickly. But I think one of the biggest stories coming into this season, and shout out to spring training season officially starts today. The San Diego Padres, the bad boys of baseball. There was a lot of controversy around them last year. Fernando Tatis Jr., the bat flip with the grand slams and all that.
Bat flip heard around the world, bro.
That's a fact. Hey, he put Batista.
Oh my God! And then the throwback behind him.
Oh, yeah. And to me, that bat flip trumped Jose Batista's in the playoffs.
I think so. I mean,
in the playoffs, though?
Yeah.
Not the magnitude of the moment, but the bat flip itself.
The significance.
I see.
Yes.
Got it.
I think they reverberate for different reasons, though, right? I mean, I don't want to, interrupt your flow, but what Tatis did shook up baseball because that's an unwritten rule, right? You don't do that. You don't showboat. You don't, swing in a 3-0 pitch and on that pitch go yard and have the audacity to flip your bat after you go yard. Like it shook baseball at its core, and it started a conversation that needed to happen. Jose Batista, like he was the beginning of that conversation, but this is the point in time where I think like Fernando Tatis Jr. made it like a point where now people are like, well, what's so wrong with that? All that guy does is have fun. That was fun. People love seeing that.
And how did his manager not have his back, by the way?
Because it's all tradition, man. I mean, it's all steeped in tradition, and it's like that's not what you do. And
he was from the Rangers too, which is weird. I think that might be it.
Here's the thing, and when I use the term conservatives in this sense, I'm not talking politics. I'm talking baseball has the most conservative fan base in sports. They do not like change, So even when it comes to just like the little ways, the way the game has changed in terms of the amount of relievers getting used, the shift, baseball purists are like, no, that's bad for the game. When in actuality, it's the sport evolving in front of our faces and people cannot accept it.
Baseball's not church. We can make adjustments and it's okay. I'm telling everybody it's okay.
And I don't know, you guys can speak to this as ball players. I used to have that conservative mentality. Like if a dude went yard on me and showboated, I'll be tight. I'll probably want to hit him next at AB. But now that
I play with you. Don't lie to the folks now. All right. Don't lie. I know we showed on time, but I'm gonna check you.
This is a new Greg Polius.
Yeah. Don't come with that. All right, brand new Greg. Not brand new Greg. All right, we're not doing
yes. After being checked live on air by the little bro, yes, I would have hit them.
Thank you.
Multiple times.
I was trying to be nice for the people.
I'm trying to lie to the people. It's nice and lie are two different things. I'm trying to lie to the people.
We're all
finish your point though.
Yeah,
I just have to say
we all may be outfielders. Greg and I have, pitched. I learned everything from Greg in terms of pitching. You might have kind of sent that my way because I get the same feeling when I'm playing MLB The Show. Even like some computer guy takes me deep. Like you're getting it in the ribs next time. There's no questions asked.
But at one point in my career, I would say fairly maybe 5 to 6 years ago, fairly recently, because I still play avidly. If a guy took me yard and pimped it, that's on me. I made a bad pitch, E1, bad pitch. And if he wants to celebrate him, because hitting a home run is not easy,
It's the hardest thing in sports. It really is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
It's the basis, yes.
Yeah. So if he wants to celebrate, by all means, do you. I just know now next at bat, I gotta win that.
And you know what? It goes both ways because I don't want to hear people that get all in love with bat flips, but then when a pitcher strikes out and he runs off the mound and he screams his head off, like Garrett Cole or Marcus Stroman or a lot of pitchers in the league.
Fernando Rodney.
A lot of passionate pitchers.
Absolutely. It's got to go both ways because you know what, Greg? If I'm you and I give up a bomb and a guy pimps it and he's, even if you don't have to, you can agree that you made a bad pitch, but you don't have to like the guy running around the bases. You could be like, all right, you're annoying. I don't like you, whatever. And then you strike him out the next time. Best believe I'm running off that mound. Well, maybe not running, but, jetting off that mound with a little scream like LFG.
But that's the thing, right? I think it's about competition. Like hitting them isn't competition. Hitting them is like throwing a fit. You're upset that you got beat. And instead of saying, I'm going to come back and beat you, I'm going to hit you as like, well, don't do that again.
Yeah.
It's intimidation.
Exactly.
I think we're all taught that growing up. That's the reason why, Greg's doing that now, but you have to unlearn that. It took him a while to unlearn that as a pitcher, because that's something that he was taught from as a child. Like that's what you do. And those are the unwritten rules,
Yeah.
So I think, and you can even go back to Ronald Acuna when he was his rookie season, where he was just hitting the crap out of the ball. And all of a sudden he's coming up now. All these pitchers are getting upset. He's going yard first.
Jose Urena beamed him.
Yeah.
And the announcer called it chicken, you know what, and that's exactly what it is. And Ken Singleton, not to cut you off quickly, Yankees announcer, former Orioles great. As we're gonna go like 5 minutes over, just quickly. I mean, you guys are all here, so Ken Singleton always said, when you hit a batter unintentionally, it just means that you have no confidence that you can get this guy out. Get the guy out. Strike him out. The only time I think it's okay to hit a batter is when the other pitcher has thrown at him already, and now you're trading barbs, and the guy gets his ribs. And then I think that's
just a retaliation.
Retaliation. I think that's fair. Do you disagree?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that.
I think that's totally fine.
Because I'll tell you what happens. If you don't, you can lose some of your guys on your team.
Absolutely.
Okay, I mean, I'm not playing a devil's advocate because I really don't like it, but just like the other side of that argument, though, is that those other guys on the team are probably the same ones that want you to hit a batter after he hits a home run. So, like, to say that you're trying to appease them just means that they also need to understand and evolve and change. You know?
Yeah, but your other bro Garrison just said you got to protect your guys, and I totally agree with him in that regard.
I understand and I agree with that, protecting your guys. I guess to me it's more like you could sending the sign, like when Syndergaard throwing behind a batter. Like I agree that you could send a sign. I don't think that you have to like resort to that. And the sooner we remove it out of baseball, the better baseball will be. Is what I'm saying. So you can't have some of it and say it's okay. Like it has to be none of it to me.
Yeah, that's a hard line stance.
That is a very hard line stance. But
what I just not to cut you off, Deck, but what I want to say real quickly, I definitely think that the way the Padres play the game, the way Ronald Acuna plays the game, that's how the game should be played. Because baseball has an issue with attracting younger fans. Because to guys outside of us, the casual fan, sitting down and watching a 9-inning game is boring. Yeah. But you sit down and you see guys, with the flair and bringing some flavor to the game, people are going to want to watch more than what they watch now.
Put butts in seats. I mean, before COVID, it put butts in seats, right? Like, that's just it. Like, that kind of flair, that kind of excitement, home runs in general, as everyone knows, it adds to the entertainment, and the casual fan is who you're trying to attract, right? The avid baseball fan is already going to be there.
We'll watch no matter what. We'll watch no matter what.
And so all the changes that you're seeing in the MLB, while the avid baseball fan is upset, and thinking that it's too much change. It's not going to be the same game. Well, at what point do you want baseball to like start to progress? Because it's lagging behind all the major sports. You have to start
with the exception of maybe hockey. No.
Yeah, with the exception of hockey, baseball's third. Baseball playoffs still do well in terms of the ratings.
Baseball playoffs, they do better than NBA. What is it? The NBA playoffs and baseball playoffs.
Oh, the thing is, the NBA playoffs are on cable, so it loses because baseball's on network TV.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, and I think first of all, before we shout out every fan that's been watching today and all the people that helped us get here. Eric Siegel brought up a great point. If you hit me, I'm finding you, and I think we can continue to say it. Like I'm not a believer in hitting somebody after they pimp a home run. Strike them out. But if somebody hits your guys, and I'm not sure how you feel about it, Steph, because I know you don't love some of it, like some of it. Like if you hit my guy and it's intentional, and we know it's intentional, you're getting one in the ribs or in the ass, and then that's just how it is.
I do understand that, but the same way you're saying, like, oh, okay, so they hit a home run, now you beat them by striking them out. They hit your guy, now you go and crush them, right? Like it has that same appeal. Like you can't make the argument for one and not make it for the other. It works both ways. So you go out and win. You go out and beat that team, because what's going to eventually happen is they put a runner on, right? And that runner goes and scores. How often, if you make these teams pay with your bats, they're gonna it stops becoming popular to do it, right? Because now your ego is what's wounded. And I mean, and then not for hitting your guys, because again, protecting your guys, I'm not against that. I agree with that. But to me, you send that sign like, hey man, that wasn't a good idea. I didn't like it. Boom, move on. But it has to be full stop. Like I don't think it's like we can only hit them when they do this. It needs to be removed from baseball.
I mean, shout out to Keith Cadogan in the comments. He just made a great point. There's nothing really wrong with a little showboating. Just like when Cad was dabbing on folks, if you want to stop me, I won't celebrate. If you stop me, I won't celebrate.
Yeah,
exactly. And you know what? When you stop them, like the Broncos did in the Super Bowl, you can celebrate in the end zone. Von Miller can dance in the end zone. Malik Jackson can dance in the end zone. If you celebrate, you back it up. You play what you play, essentially.
As in terms of excitement, before we get out of here, I just want to touch on the extra innings rule real quick, because it's just quick. We can agree that baseball is lacking excitement, right? Yeah. And for those of you that don't know the extra inning rules, if it's going to start with the man on second base. And we also have 7-inning doubleheaders. That's the other rule, correct?
Yes.
So extra innings. I'm all for having a man on second base. For those of you that say it's not real baseball, I disagree, because you're still in baseball situations. What you're doing is you are forcing the defense to come through in the clutch, and each team, and that's excitement. It's like a playoff feel. Yep. There's a runner in scoring position. A single can either cross the go-ahead run across the plate, or a single can win this game. What's it gonna be? Yeah, situational baseball.
It's and every practice you've been in, right? Like any practice that you, as a baseball player, you've been in, where you're like, all right, runner on second, 2 outs or 1 out, go, and balls hit. It's like the pressure is on in that moment, right? Yeah. And in practice, it's like there's no stakes. Oh, I missed it. Next time I'm gonna get it. But in the game, high stakes, and you'll see that on the players. And I think as far as like the entertainment, people watching it, even if you don't understand baseball, you can understand pressure. You can understand those moments that are pivotal, and you can see the energy shift. That is what's going to allow fans that aren't as in touch with the rules and understanding to still be engaged, because they want that feel. The reason,
and especially now that fans are getting back.
Yeah, especially the reason playoff baseball does better than regular season. Obviously, 162 games people don't want to buy in for, but that atmosphere. If you could create that in a regular season game, that's going to just do you. It's going to only benefit you.
I'm actually really excited for this particular rule. Like, I can't wait for the first extra inning game. As for the 7-inning doubleheaders, I'm also really excited for that. For those of you that never really played 7-inning doubleheaders, it's a different brand of baseball.
It's intense.
It's super intense, because by the third or fourth inning, every run counts just a little bit more. You go up by 2, that's a big deal, because now you could bring in your closer in the 5th inning or the 6th inning, and you're like, holy smokes, especially if you have, a top of the line closer. Shout out to the Mets not having that yet.
Diaz could be good this year, though.
Yeah, really I wouldn't go that far. Yeah, don't do that. Don't put that in the end. Don't put that energy in the air. That's exactly like a former Knicks fan. That's what a former Knicks fan would do.
Oh boy!
All right, like former Knicks.
I really got to be in the middle next time to separate you.
Maybe, but a former Knicks fan that's probably on his way to becoming a former Mets fan. Who knows?
What? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean,
all right, Mets are under new ownership, bro. Mets are under new ownership.
Yeah, if they win 78 games and some more GameStop stuff happens, where do you stand in August?
I cannot comment on the matter in the moment, but I am excited for both teams. Got a lot at stake this season, Mets and Yankees. And I would love. Can you imagine a day-night 7-inning doubleheader, one at Yankee Stadium, one at Citi Field? Like, how fire would that be?
Well, fire enough that we're going to be going. So, you know what? And on that note, unfortunately, we got to head up. In case it wasn't blatantly obvious, my two partners are some of the most brilliant baseball minds you'll ever know. And you'll catch us out on Friday. On our next show, you'll see Smoke and Mirrors at 1 o'clock, Monday and Friday. Thank you for a great first show. Shout out to Carl Coulange of Sports Hit List, Errol Marks of the Worldwide Sports Radio Network for giving us his platform, and our boy Speedy Petey for everything he's been doing today and for us going forward. Shout out to Speedy. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for the fans, everybody in the comments section. Friday, 1 and 2. Be sure to check us out. More baseball talk, football, basketball. Here for all the smoke all the time. Smoke and Mirrors on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm Declan Krogman alongside Greg Polius, Stephen Polius. We'll see you on Friday.
Later, y'all.
Later.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.